like people to think about you when you're done? I like for them to say he took a few cups of love. He took 1 tablespoon of patience, 1 teaspoon of generosity, 1 pint of kindness. He took 1 quart of laughter, 1 piece of concern, and then he mixed willingness with happiness. He added lots of faith, and he stirred it up well. Then he spread it over the span of a lifetime, and he served it to each and every deserving person he left. Muhammad Ali, thank you very much.
Go to college and get some knowledge. Stay there until you're through. If they can make penicillin out of molded bread, they can sure make something out of you.
I want women to be equal to men as far as being paid for the quality of what they can do.
My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother or some darker people or some poor hungry people in the mud for big powerful America and shoot them for what? They never call me nigger. They never lynch me. They never put no dogs over me. They never rob me of my nationality, rape and kill my mother and father. Well, I'm going to shoot them for what? How can I go shoot them? Them little poor little black people, little babies and children and women. How can I shoot them poor people? Just take me to jail.
Ali more than held his own against students who had a far better formal education than he.
I'm saying you talking about me about some draft, and all of you white boys are breaking your neck to get to Switzerland and Canada and London. I'm not going to help nobody get something my Negroes don't have. If I'm going to die, I'll die now, right here fighting you. If I'm going to die, you my enemy. My enemy is the white people, not Vietcongs or Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
I don't think that there's no heavyweight alive who couldn't beat me. I know they're not alive. And when I say greatest, I mean only boxers. See, in the Islamic religion, we have a saying, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar means God is the greatest. So I'm not God. I'm just the greatest in the sport of boxing.
Muhammad, in the book you come over as a deep thinker, not simply a boxer. Is that how you'd like to be remembered?
That's a good question. I am a deep thinker, but I don't think deep at various press conferences promoting fights. You have to think small in order to reach the average people. So I gave the people what they wanted. This is no jive. He shall fall in 5. He will fall in 5. If he don't fall, I'll leave the country. They buy tickets and line up for miles. Is he going to fall in 5? See, man desires to understand that which he cannot understand. First, he wanted to know what was on the moon. He spent $10 to $15 billion for 2 rocks. Now, he don't want to know what's on the moon no more. Now he want to know what's on Mars.
That makes me rumble. Don't me rumble? Look like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Ah, rumble, young man, rumble. Ah!
I'm so sharp, when I finish, they look like I had a razor blade. I'm so bad, you know what I've been doing? Last week I went out to the jungle. I wrestled with an alligator. I tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. I'm bad, man. You know what I did last week? Last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. I'm fast. You know how fast I am? Fella, I'm so fast last week, I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, I was in the bed before the room was dark. Is this on for a second? Utah is alive right now. Everybody stop talking now. Attention. I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all time. Sonny, listen. I told you today, I'm still the greatest of all time. Never again Make me the underdog until I'm about 50 years old. Then you might get me. Talk about how big George Foreman is, how terrible. I'm scared for my life, how relentless he is. That sucker ain't nothing.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier! The heavyweight champion is taking the mandatory 8 count, and Foreman is as poised as can be.
Being us both religious people, Muhammad and myself, he'll be very fortunate if I don't act as an exorcist and beat the devil out of him.
Sucker, you ain't nothing. Sucker, look at you. You out, sucker.
Maybe he can pull off a miracle. But against George Foreman, so young, so strong, so fearless, against George Foreman, who does away with his opponents one after another in less than 3 rounds, it's hard for me to conjure with that.
This tooth has got everybody scared. Scared of what? Nothing to be scared of. Scared of what? How many is Harper if the man can stay out of the way for 5 rounds? Stick him, move, stay out of range, be in good shape, he'll retire George Foreman. This man depends on getting this man in the first 1 or 2 rounds. If he don't do that, he's frustrated. Stick him with left jabs and right crosses, tie him up and box him, and you'll retire. I know this man is going to whoop George Foreman, and I'm going to whoop him of all places in Africa, in the Congo, where the Lumumba boys are. I'm not a hard puncher. I'm not known for being a hard puncher. I've fought many men like Floyd Patterson, Laura Foley, George Fowler, who are stronger than I am. Many I couldn't knock out, Sonny Liston. But I'll tell you this, boxing ability, speed, whooping on point, so the distance is necessary. Then I'll whoop him.
George Foreman has that serious look. Ali definitely talking to him. Look at the stare on George Foreman. Look at Ali give him the word. So the stage is set. We're just about ready to begin. Round 1. The heavyweight championship of the world at stake. To stop Ali. Here we go. Ali quickly across the round. And Ali bouncing around, shifting left to right. George throws Ali, gets the first punch in. Oh, a combination landed by Ali on the face of George Foreman. Look at Ali, continues to punch. Definitely straight. This combination by Muhammad Ali. Vicious right, thrown to the body of Ali. Wild right, this is the head of Ali. Foreman rolling away. And Ali says, let me back up. Gets some real good shots to Ali from side Foreman. Setting him up against the rope. Boy, vicious. Left by Ali. Foreman
Rest in peace to Muhammad Ali and Kimber Slice.
MyT.
Everywhere we go, people wanna know who we are. Yeah. So we tell them this is mighty, mighty.
Good morning, or good evening, good night, depending on when you listen to this. Welcome back to another edition of the MyT Sports Podcast. I am your host still, Talent T. Taylor. Believe it or not, it's about almost 3 o'clock in the morning. It's Wednesday morning. So later on tonight, we got some NBA Finals going on. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals. We're going to talk about the two deaths we just mentioned earlier in the show. Some WWE, some NFL, some basketball. We're going to see what we get through today. Today's going to be one of them weird days. But you know what I say. Regardless of that time, and regardless of the weather, which is about 80 degrees right now, we have some hurricane warnings. It's always a good time to talk some sports. So, let's start talking. Woo! Yeah, buddy. So, here we go. June 8th. And since the last time we spoke, we've just too much has happened. First and foremost, like I said, rest in peace to Kimber Walker. Not Kimber Walker. Rest in peace to Muhammad Ali. That's gonna be the very first one. And like just in his death, realizing that he is so gonna live for about another 70 years in the memory of us. Because if I'm having intellectual conversations with people 20 years younger than me about Muhammad Ali and who he is, and they're mimicking his moves and his greatness and his style, right? And then see the glimmer in their eye when I tell them float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and they're like, oh, that was him, word? And they see them get excited about that. And them understanding that this man was great. Now, granted, they understand that he was a great fighter. Now, I understand about how much of a leader he was and a civil rights activist as he was, as you heard from some of the clips. You know, but this man was as broad can get. I don't have much I can say about him personally because I don't know him personally. Who I do know a lot better than I do know Muhammad Ali is Kimber Slice. And we have to say rest in peace to him too, because as I've told you guys many times before, I'm locally here in South Florida. So that means, yes, I have happened to run into Kimber Slice a couple of times down here in South Florida. And every time I've run into him, he has been the most gracious, most generous, most humble of dudes. Like regardless of his menacing and overbearing and rugged demeanor, he's one of the nicest guys I can meet. And the only story I can really say about him is that that when I met him at Roy's that one time, or the first time I should say, that he came out there because he's been hanging with one of my cousins for a while, and the little corner that we're in at Roy's, you know, he asked, you know, if I knew a decent amount of people, asked me and my cousin, you know, and you know, confirmed that we knew people over here, and he said, okay, cool, and that's bought everybody in that whole little section drinks. That was Kimber Slice. Unfortunately, that he died so young. I still don't even know why he died young. I haven't heard any reports on why he's gone. But rest in peace, Muhammad Ali and Kimber Slice. We're gonna come back after these messages.
Hey, Tiggle! Tired of being ripped off by those other guys? Then head down to MyT Games and get the value you deserve.
Multivest. Find them at 830 183rd Street, Miami Gardens, Florida, 33169. Located just 5 minutes from Tootsie's and Sun Life Stadium in the plaza, across from Snappers. Multivest Games. Save more, play more.
And we are back. And thank you for still listening to the MyT Sports Podcast. Still either on SoundCloud or TuneIn Radio. There's no relocations here. Like we're not like ESPN Radio. We're not gonna be shutting down or anything. Like no, still here, still running strong. Like believe it or not, we've been doing this for a whole year plus. So talking about doing things for a while, and I guess right now we have to talk about, like I want to jump into, since we've already been talking about fighting as well. You know, boxing fights, MMA fighters. So we're gonna switch over and skew the lines of the fighting world and talk about WWE, because WWE, for some very low-key reason, they've been taking over very slowly, making a lot of major, minor moves that is going to get them some very good PR at one. Definitely going to put some money in their pockets. And the one person that constantly can remind us if wrestling is fake or not, you know, and not really remind us, make us forget that wrestling is fake by what he does individually. So this is to back up just slightly. First and foremost, WWE has recently signed a new deal with Tap Out. Tap Out, as you know, has been long-time clothing line of with the UFC. Not sure if that contract with the UFC has fallen through the hoops, but I do know that currently they are now working on a new deal with Tap Out and WWE, which obviously, as you know, like just like how the WWE works, I mean the NBA works and the NFL works. Any new contracts like these that are on this grand of scales, obviously ways to generate more money for the company and to find ways to overall put more money in the talent's pocket, especially when it comes to WWE. They're always trying to find ways to promote their talent and get more money. Now, if you are the person or the kind of person that cares about this, the Bella Twins are now going to get their own spin-off. So, what happened is that, for the people that don't know, I'll give you a quick rundown. WWE has, obviously, its own television show. You know, SmackDown, Raw, and now its own app that gives a bunch of shows. Well, outside of that, the WWE Divas, as they were called then, but now they're called female wrestlers again. But the WWE Divas, right, which are the female wrestlers of the brand, they had their own reality show where they would just be basically just following them from city to city as they went through their stuff. Well, the two least talented wrestlers of the bunch, which are the Bella Twins, they happen to be twins. They really are untalented. Like, listen, I am happy for them for one thing and one thing only. It takes them, on granted, they've been wrestling for 10 years now and their body can't take it anymore and they having bulging disc and all kinds of spinal issues, so they actually can't wrestle. I'm just glad that they're away from WWE now and they're no longer there, because those two ladies have sucked for 10 years straight. And this isn't like one of those things where, like, I don't like their character. Like, I don't like who their character was. No, it's nothing like that, because if I don't like their character, that means they're doing their job. Like, there's people like The Miz, where I'm not a fan of his character, right? And which means that if I'm not a fan of his character, means that he's doing a really good job selling his character in WWE, you know, to make me dislike him. It's just like hating Joffrey in Game of Thrones. Like, we all know it's a show, but you haven't stopped hating him yet. Even though he's no longer there, you haven't stopped hating him yet. Yet you want to criticize the wrestling fan. Yet you are still crying over Jon Snow. Look at you. Look at you. Yes. Judge wrestling fans. Ha! Because this is the one thing that you decide to see past the fourth wall? Please. So these new no talent twats, right? NTTs, no talent twats, right? I don't want to be disrespectful and call them do nothing bitches. Like that's just rude. Like you shouldn't be calling women bitches for no reason whatsoever. Like listen to me. Try telling me this 10 years ago. Not even. So these no talent twats, MTTs, we're gonna be respectful to them. Like, they get their own spin-off show, and it's good for them because, listen, for some odd reason, like, they've sold seriously only because of their looks. Like, they're not my type, but they're a lot of the average American type, and they sold, and now they about to have their own spin-off where they get to follow around and sniff their ass crack for, like, basically they're the wrestling version of the Kardashians. They're only famous because they are sleeping with they were sleeping with the two most famous superstars in wrestling at the time, Daniel Bryan and John Cena. They decided to have their holes filled with them, and that's what helped give their careers a resurgence. Because at that point, I think right before they stopped sleeping with them, they had just been kicked out of WWE a couple of times, and they were doubting if they were going to bring them back. And the next thing you know, John Cena is banging a twin, and he's like, "Hey, doublemint gum." So I'm talking about John Cena. John Cena is also going to get the opportunity to host the ESPYs, which John Cena may be the most perfect example of guys' characters that I don't like in wrestling, which kind of grew from where I used to feel about him. Where when John Cena first came out and he was this rhyming, braggadocious, slick talking guy, I guess kind of like Ali, a lot like Ali actually, you know, in a way that he was just loud talking and everything that he said in rhyme at the time. And you know, but very quickly his style became old and became whack, and you realize that John Cena was just a big fluff cake. And in regular fashion, I do still have, yes, at 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, it's not 3 o'clock in the morning yet. It's about to be, though. And one more minute, that clock is about to switch. Which means that right around that time that clock switches, we officially have about half an hour left to go. A little bit more than that. A lot more than that. Not a lot more, but a little bit more than that to go on the podcast. But in regular fashion, I do have a game on still on in the background. Now, what I am trying to replay as it decides to buffer on me in the middle of the segment is the New York Liberty versus the LA Sparks game, as the LA Sparks are still attempting to continue their undefeated season. Because now between them and the Minnesota Lynx are the only two undefeated teams in the league. Both sitting at 7-0 going into tonight's game. We can talk more about those results later. So, John Cena's going to do the ESPYs. And as much as I don't like John Cena's character in wrestling, right, that means that he does a very good job. Actually, no, not really, because he's supposed to be a heel. I mean, he's supposed to be a face. He's supposed to be likable. I just can't stand him. He's kind of basic. And maybe that's what it was. Like, realized that he was just really basic and he was a lot of talk and no substance. But they gave him substance, obviously. They wrote in his substance by giving him matches to win. And anytime he did lose at a pay-per-view, it was always in some kind of gimmick match. So, for as much as I don't like him as a wrestler, there's a lot of good that he does that I do like. And what he does is that he is the #1 wish granter in the Make-A-Wish Foundation for kids. He is the #1 wish granter. Meaning that anytime some kid has had any kind of request of John Cena or from John Cena makes it his business to oblige. If I'm not mistaken, this dude is pushing almost 300 wishes. We're talking about this guy's been wrestling for about, 10, 15 years now. So to be able to do like 200-300 wishes, you understand? Like that in itself takes a so much level of commitment. That's where I do praise John Cena at, is that he definitely does give back, or at least appears to give back wholeheartedly, and he doesn't know other and even if he doesn't do it anywhere else, he does it with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he makes wishes come true. And listen, if there was any one of us that on a consistent basis we could just continuously just make random people's wishes come true, just to put a smile on their damn face, I guarantee you we would. And if you are saying that you're one of the people that wouldn't, then we may want to check your insides and see what kind of person you are. And then kind of doubt how we're friends, because that's kind of a quality I look for. You know, deep down, embedded into you. So John Cena gets to do the ESPYs, and obviously I do want to see how he does it, because I'm not really. What's the other saying? He's a slick talker. I give him that. He did do that one. He has done recently a show. I forgot what movie he did with the two bros that go back to their hometown and they throw a party and he's the drug dealer. And I'm not gonna lie, I forgot it was John Cena. Like I saw that it was John Cena and I forgot it was John Cena. See, did a good job. I'm gonna give him his props where it's due. Just can't wrestle. So, like I said, interesting to ESPYs when it comes out to see if John Cena is able to perform to the up to the standards of, like I said, not for nothing, the Justin Timberlakes and the Drakes out there. I'll be interested to see if he's able to hold those candles. And then next, but not least, is the Beast incarnate, the one, the only. Yeah, I mixed it up. I threw a little Spanish in there. Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar, folks, is who I was talking about earlier. He is the guy that when we see him, we kind of forget for half a second that wrestling is fake. Because we remember what he does for real. Not for play, but for real. And Brock Lesnar is making a trip back to the UFC. Yes, you've heard it here. Well, depends. First or fifth. Depending on how much sports you watch or listen to or look up. You either heard it here first, or this is like the fifth time you hearing this. Or Brock Lesnar is gonna be on UFC 200. UFC 200 that is in Las Vegas on July 9th. He has a match against, I forget who he has a match against. I just knew that initially I thought it was the kickboxing dude, but and I was like, whoa, but it's not the kickboxing dude. It's some fat chubby dude that. Let's put it this way: if this dude was a wrestler, he'll be the guy that he gets put in there as a pushover guy. Actually, I guess we can just use it like, yeah, he's in there for the payday. Let's just put it that way. He's in there for the payday and a little bit of notoriety. But this helps everybody because WWE has recently been starting to get coverage back again on ESPN. And that helps guys like Jonathan Coachman get more of a forefront position because it seems like he gets buried in there for somebody that's really good at his job. UFC gets another added boost because they get to now merge some ESPN coverage with the UFC world, and then they bring back the guy Brock Lesnar, the only guy successfully to go from wrestling to UFC, back to wrestling from an NCAA background, in wrestling that he was winning national championships with. Brock Lesnar is a bad mamma jamma, just as foxy as can be. Now, oddly enough, that same news that I just gave you got a journalist by the name of Ariel Helwani fired because he broke the story. Now, granted, Dana White and the UFC has rescinded that ban that they put on him because it was just going to kind of sound ridiculous that for the guy that you have covering your sport, that not only are you firing him for doing his job, but you're firing him for being really good at his job. We'll talk about that maybe in a little bit more when we come back from these commercials. to the MyT Sports Podcast. I am still your host, Tyler T. Taylor. Thank you for still listening. SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, either or, both. And let me give you the difference, in case you guys don't know. If you're listening on SoundCloud, you are going to get this today. As I'm recording it today, and recording this bright, very, 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 very late or very early Wednesday morning, you're going to get this on Wednesday, before the game tonight. Before the sun comes up the next day, before things roll over. If you listen to this on TuneIn Radio, you're going to get this a whole nother day after it's already on SoundCloud. So if you have it on SoundCloud, basically you're getting the exclusive. You're getting the scoop. You're the first one. You're getting the creme de la creme. If you know what that means, you know what I mean? This time you even have to parlez-vous my français, but you have to parlez-vous my français. So, we were talking about Ariel Helwani. And, yeah, it was probably the most shocking thing to me. Like I said, I'm not going to get too much more into this. We're going to brush over this real quick and move on. But just the fact that Dana White, and Dana White is one of them dudes, like, you know that, because from what I heard, like, you could say, like, Dana White, as soon as the story was broke, he's like, you're done, you're through, you're finished in this town, you never cover this sport again. And as soon as I hear, you could just hear that this is Dana White being emotional. The emotional guy that we've seen him be through interviews, through the Tough Enough contest. Like, we've seen him be this guy. And know that it should not be this way. And it was going to look bad. It was really going to look bad. Like, it was one of those things that you can say that if nobody wants to cover your sport because you're not going to allow them to be the best journalist that they can, then who's going to want to cover your sport? Like, I still don't think UFC is at a point that they can afford to not be covered. Like, listen, boxing thought that they will always be in a point where they will be covered in a very bright light. Surviving Muhammad Ali's, departure from the game, departure from the sport, and the sport going on a couple of year hiatus. And it makes me really wonder, in boxing, that how is it so that Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, they went after Floyd, that the biggest of stars that they have in boxing, the braggadocious ones, the ones with the motor mouths, the ones that are loquacious, the ones that happens to push the right buttons with their with their verbal, swordsmanship. Those are the ones that they always happen to go after and happen to mount in jail for some reason. They manage to always. I don't know if this is a plot or a scheme, but listen, we're learning we're learning more and more every day that nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. More than we've ever thought before. Nothing is impossible. And just a quick update. In the NHL, the Penguins now currently lead the San Jose Sharks 3-1. The next game will be tomorrow night, June 8th, in Pittsburgh at 8 p.m. So, tomorrow you're going to have a little bit of a dilemma. If you're going to want to watch the potential closeout game of the Stanley Cup Finals, or a potential game where Golden State can go up 3-0. Sit back and think about that. And while you think about that, in the WNBA, right, this week in the Power Rankings, we want to congratulate New York Liberty's Tina Charles and Minnesota Lynx Maya Moore. Now, Tina Charles, once again, is a young lady that I told you from the New York Liberty that was top 5 in at least 3 different statistical categories to lead the league. Now, in the Power Rankings, we currently have Minnesota Lynx in the number 1, the LA Sparks in the number 2, Atlanta Dream at number 3, and pulling in number 4 are the Dallas Wings, surprisingly, over the New York Liberty with a 3-4 record. New York Liberty have a 4-4 record. Atlanta Dream was sitting at 6-2, and like I told you before, the Lynx and the Sparks are both 7-0. And by the time you hear this, we have some results. Actually, we give you those results. Wait for it. So we're gonna move on, right? As we talk about the WNBA, and we're gonna keep this ball moving in the NBA fashion, because what we're witnessing in the NBA is, and this is what always makes games like this as difficult as they are, right? Because what we don't know is if games 1 and 2 or the norm and an expectancy for the rest of the series, or if it's just a team taking care of home court advantage. When it came down to Cleveland playing Toronto, Atlanta, Detroit, when they won games 1 and 2, I don't think that at any point in time we thought to ourselves, this is just Cleveland taking care of home. When it gets back to Detroit, when it gets back to Atlanta, when it gets back to Toronto, 6-6-6-6-6, it's going to be different. I don't think at any point in time we really thought that with LeBron James going through the East. And I say LeBron James because we're going to talk about a comment that the New York media mentioned about LeBron James' big three. While we saw teams, and so many teams, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and the Golden State Warriors, that even when they won games 1 and 2, it was, they're just holding down home court advantage. And that also goes back to talk about the strength of each division, obviously. As we have for 6 years now, plus, known that the East has been really, really soft. I mean, seriously, the best young team coming out of the East so far was Indiana, and they're in a complete rebuild mode. The thing that made Boston great is already spurted all over the league, and one guy doesn't even play anymore but hasn't filled out his retirement paperwork. Yeah, he's still technically on the block. That's the reason his name comes up still every year. Right until the moment that you can no longer sign him for that year. Then it's officially like, okay, we're not gonna bring up the Ray Allen talk and do the what if Ray Allen, hyperbole stuff, like, if we were able to get Ray Allen on our team, we would be if we can find a way to get Ray Allen to sign for if Ray Allen really wanted to win and play for a contender, he would like, I feel like Ray Allen not filling out his retirement paperwork is just allowing people to speculate every single year and make unnecessary Ray Allen talk. Like, if Ray Allen does a second movie, then it's going to be a sign that it's possible that he is doing it to get in shape, to come back and play 14 NBA seasons. You've heard it here first. Like that's what it boils down to. So none of that is happening. Game 1 of the NBA Finals didn't quite look the way that we thought it would have looked. In any way, shape, or form. Because there were oxymorons dribbling up and down the court all over the place. As this Liberty game is still lagging. Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry combined for 20 points. LeBron James basically outscores them by himself. So they did what they were supposed to do, and they shut down options 1 and 2. They held options 1 and 2 in check. What happened was that Sean Livingston made us remind everybody who Sean Livingston was. Remember? Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because if after game 1, you didn't get a minor or hear or look up a minor history lesson on Sean Livingston, the guy I've been talking about for some time now, 6'7", 215-pound point guard that can look over almost everybody, the same kind of advantage that LeBron James should have at point guard, that the position that he shied away from, the same position that Magic played from and was able to thrive at 6'9" because he's looking over guys with the taller 6'3", 6'4". Sean Livingston, the guy that was a top 10 pick in NBA draft. Sean Livingston, the guy that snapped his leg, like Paul George. Sean Livingston came back and reminded every single person out there why he was who he was, and why this team was a champ. And the team is a champ because even when you cut off the head of the snake, 2 more grow back in its place. Sean Livingston wasn't the only one going off. Draymond Green went off. Barnes went off. Barbosa went off. There goes 4. So why you have so much word, and you're gonna have to, and what I say to you is that you don't change your philosophy from game 1, even though it got you demolished. You don't change your philosophy game 1 because I'm telling you, you prefer to have a struggling Splash Brothers or Splash Brothers that are looking for their shot and aggravated, versus, to go along with streaky bench versus Splash Brothers that are on fire plus streaky bench, because bench is going to be bench. Like you understand? Golden State won game 1 because of their bench ass players. If they ain't had better bench ass players than Cleveland, they never would have won. But those bench ass players carried the whole team. Them bench ass players. And Sean Livingston is one of them bench ass players, and so is Iguodala. And those two go in there and they change complexities of game of defense and offense and what they're able to do in different ways individually. Game 1 should have been maybe something a little bit more for Cleveland fans or Cleveland hopefuls to come away from. But it didn't look like it because Kyrie Irving continues to look like he's playing in his first NBA Finals ever. And guess what? He is. Yeah. You keep forgetting when LeBron, look, for what Kyrie Irving you may think that Kyrie Irving is, you weren't watching Cleveland when LeBron James wasn't there. Unfortunately, I was guilty of watching these boring ass games. Kyrie Irving's kind of been like this, and Kyrie Irving is now trying to look like he's trying to overcompensate. Seriously overcompensate, and just look like he's played in this. Seriously, look like a rookie. Looks like a rookie in the finals, which he kind of is because he's never been here before. Kyrie Irving, I'm telling you, one of the most celebrated guys for playing the least amount of ball ever. I mean, college, highly recruited in college, barely played there. You know what I mean? Barely he's done anything over 4 years now. Barely plays there. And Kevin Love is almost a complete opposite. Kevin Love looks like he can't wait to get out of there. So when I see Kevin Love in the first game, in game 1, he goes down like super slow and takes forever to get it, and I can't understand it. But we're gonna take a quick break and pay some bills. Actually, we ain't gonna pay any bills. This don't pay bills. So instead of paying bills, how about we spend some money? How we gonna spend this money? Right? First, we're gonna do this. We're gonna stop trying to figure out what to do on a Friday. We're gonna stop worrying. We're gonna stop thinking. We're gonna head down to Capone's nightclub in downtown Fort Lauderdale, and we're gonna find DJ Scepter. Right? DJ Scepter's gonna be that guy mixing in the lounge room with his headphones on, jamming and into the music 100%, not even paying attention to what's going on, just completely into the set, getting the crowd moving, grooving, doing their thing. So head down there in that lounge room where you can start dancing and start drinking with DJ Scepter. He is there every Friday night from 10 to 4 p.m. or 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Ladies, you could bring that sexy body of yours, you know, with your fuck 'em dress. Fellas, you go there, you bring your swag, you know what I mean? Just oozing confidence from left to right that that smells like straight testosterone that anybody with estrogen cannot deny or resist. It's going down at Capone's. But wait. What she just said, there's more. If you're trying to figure out what to do on a Wednesday, guess what? DJ Scepter is also at O'Malley's. And that's O'Malley's on 441 in Coconut Creek. Ish. From 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. DJ Scepter, seriously, plays everywhere you want to be. I remember I was telling you if you want to book him for to DJ on your boat, he'll DJ on your boat. But guess what? Last week I just heard that DJ Scepter was DJ on a yacht. DJ Scepter DJs everywhere you want to be. Birthdays, weddings, bar mitzvah, quinceañeras, bachelor and bachelorette party. DJ Scepter puts that royal touch on everything. For reservations, go to bookings at djscepter.com. So thank you. We are back. MyT Sports Podcast. Still that host. I'm still that host. I am still the one and only Talon T. Taylor. Yes, the one and only. There's no other Talon T. Taylor out there. Like there's only one me. Only one seed. Only one being. So as we continue to talk about this NBA, as you're still listening either on SoundCloud or TuneIn Radio. Game 2 now looks completely different because now it looks like that Cleveland is not trusting in their process. They don't trust the process because they figure the process got them blown out in the first game. Even though at one point in time in the first game, they were within 1 point. The fact that they went down by 20 eventually is something completely different. But your process had you there. Game 2, you completely go away from the process. And now, based off how bad you look in Game 1 and Game 2, now officially down 0-2 to the Golden State Warriors, looking like,
oh man, not again.
And it is going to be again, because LeBron James is the one that came into the league and said, he's the king. He's the chosen one. These are his streets. A bucket doesn't get made unless he gets a piece of it. He wants in. He came in the league talking about you guys got fat out there while we starved to death. Yet hasn't done anything. And I'm sorry. I can choose to 100% just look over his time period in Miami because it was a bought time period. I'm sorry. I thought most assassins liked their records, removed, their actions stricken from the record. So if you could go over there like an assassin, we're going to treat you like an assassin. And most assassins are nameless because most assassins don't want to get caught. So, LeBron James is that person. Said he was the chosen one. Said he was the king. Then went down to South Beach and was like, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. And then he came back and said,
I'm going to take my talents to South Beach because I'm the best player in the world.
I have a huge basketball IQ.
And yet his huge basketball IQ still can't find a way to get over Golden State. You would figure with somebody that's the best player in the world and has a huge basketball IQ, that he would have found a way to beat Golden State. The team that shouldn't be winning because they're a jump shooting team. The team that doesn't play defense. The team that is more finesse than they are physical. The team that nobody realizes takes it to the basket. The team that nobody even realizes Stephen Curry misses shots because they make him at such a high rate. This is LeBron's words. So when we hold LeBron James accountable, this is LeBron being held accountable by LeBron's standards. This is what he said he wanted us to judge him on. Being the best player in the world. Having a huge basketball mind. Being king. Being king. Oh, generous king of you. Look at you. Once again, sharing your jewels and riches with the land. Oh, my king, oh, you generous king of yours. Look at you. Like I want to say, if every king was as generous as you, we would never have a tyrant. Like, people like Kobe wouldn't only be loved on his last day out because he was stingy with his rings. Yeah. So, Game 2 does take on that weird aura as Cleveland goes away from their process, and they are now just getting more and more and digging themselves more into a hole. And now, like I said, this is where the weird part we come to look at now. Is that because they've been blown out so bad, is that we don't know if this is Golden State taking care of home court or really, really, really Cleveland is looking like we gonna see if they can pull out a victory. Because as of right now, it doesn't look like it, but I won't be surprised if Cleveland wins Game 3. Just like I won't be surprised if they win Game 3 and lose Game 4. We're at a scary point. This may go on 5 again. Then what for LeBron? As his best player out there is James Jones, because James Jones is only a person that's been in 6 straight finals. Game 3 is going to be tonight. And Cleveland should really revert back to their formula. They should give... And really, for what I also said, Stephen Curry, not Stephen Curry, but Stephen Curry, yeah, should be guarded by the Iman Shumperts and the J.R. Smiths and anybody else that they could consistently throw at him. Just person after person after person after person. I don't care if it's on a 2-minute rotation. You have to keep throwing bodies at him. But more than anything, you have to make him work when he's guarding defenders. You have to. He cannot hide on your team's worst defender because he's on your team's most stationary defender. Because I'm pretty sure they have that guy scouted. So we saw what before I even go further, like I said, the keys to success. But we've seen what's been happening, and as Knicks fans, like if you're a Cleveland fan, you're frustrated. If you're a Knicks fan, like you're looking at this like, I'm not surprised that J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert aren't showing up. This is what drove us bat-ish crazy in New York. This is why Melo's like, yeah, those are my brothers. He ain't shed no tears over them. Because he knew if he really needed to win, he needed to get it. Like I said, anybody that comes into the league and uses J.R. Smith as a role model, then you've already failed. You've automatically failed. It's like just coming into the world and your first words is, I believe in, like, I follow Satan. Like, like you just come in and just be like, worship devil. Like you came in fucking up. And that's Iman Shumpert. Like, he came in with J.R. like wanting to be like J.R. Smith in way too many ways, and J.R. Smith may have just rubbed off on him in more ways than just mental, but also in his game where he's just as consistent as J.R. Smith is at times. He just knows how to play defense. But J.R. Smith is they're like the ultimate yin and yang. Where J.R. Smith is like they're supposed to be like the ultimate offensive weapon. And I know I've said him plenty of times before that J.R. Smith, when he's really on his game, he's a top 5 shooting guard. Not anymore. He may be lucky to even be in the top 12 even when he's on his game. But Iman Shumpert is the opposite end of being a defender, and they're both streaky. Like Iman Shumpert is so streaky, he's streaky on his putback dunks. So I think that goes. I mean, Cleveland need to go back to that original process. LeBron James is to be on Klay Thompson and weigh Klay Thompson out. You will wear him out eventually. If you keep stretching out games and you get out games. Listen, if you take care of what's going on in Cleveland by running on him, then guess what? Now he has to worry about doing this for game 5, 6, and 7. But everybody else needs to be on Steph. And then make Green and Barnes and Bogut and Iguodala and let all those other guys beat you. But you can't let Curry and Klay Thompson go off, because if you allow them to go off, then it's Christmas time. Everything is going to be a wrap. You can't let that happen. Folks, guess what? That is the show. It's really not the show. We have a couple minutes here, and now that we have a couple of minutes, I do want to go touch on a couple of things. NFL news, really quick, right? So here we go. So in the NFL, we have some crazy things going on in the NFL over this last weekend, as the Super Bowl champs, Denver Broncos, are heading out to go see the president, as the president is going to honor them. Talib Kweli, or whatever his name is, Habib Talib, you know, I can never remember his name, but he couldn't make it because he was shot outside of a nightclub. I don't know if he chatted about himself, like Pesico Bros, but he was or if he was Clee Anthony Early, or if he was Cephalosha. The three differences: Cephalosha attacked by cops and had his leg broken. Clee Anthony Early was shot outside of the club, and he was shot by somebody, and Plexico Burris shot himself. So we're gonna see if anything more comes out of that. But I know that's not the reason why. That's the reason why he's not mentioning it. And I also want to see RIP to Roger Goodell. If you wonder who Roger Goodell is or how weird that sounds, Roger Goodell is the commissioner of the NFL, and earlier today or earlier yesterday, the NFL site was hacked, and when it was hacked, they put an RIP out for Roger Goodell. Now, believe it or not, this has been one of the most lucrative press moves that the NFL site has ever made, because this happened to get one of the best hits. Talking about this is probably one of the best moves the NFL has made in years. Unfortunately for the NFL, this was fake. They got hacked, and nobody is happy. Also, the Knicks have now officially announced that Jeff Hornacek is going to be our head coach. And the only thing I can say is that we have to give, as I stressed before, we have to give time to build cohesiveness. We have to allow time to learn a system, build cohesiveness, and get some kind of consistency in play, in management, in personnel with roster. We have to get consistency. The best example I can tell you, the Bengals have sucked for years. And while you may say the Bengals right now, they can't get out the first round, or they've been struggling to get out the first round, guess what? 10 years of the same head coach and some consistency, they finally at least made it into the playoffs, or at least you're talking about them saying they can't get out the first round. The Knicks can't make an 8 seed. That consistency is going to have to come eventually. I want to say thank you guys for listening, as this now is officially the show. Thank you. Stay tuned, stay blessed, and do not stress.
Sorry, boys. All the stitches in the world can't sew me together again. Lay down. Lay down. Always knew I'd make a stop there.
Don't forget you can find me on Twitter.
A lot later than a whole gang of people thought.
MyT Sports, SoundCloud.
Call for drinks.
MyT Sports.
Bars closing down.
Tune in radio, MyT Sports. Anywhere you want to be, MyT Sports.
Where we going for breakfast?
Facebook, MyT Sports.
I go far.
Ladies, keep listening for that fantasy football.
Tired, baby. Tired.
MyT